Hey guys, welcome to 1 Million Cups. We're so excited to have you this morning. This is kind of like our TED / sponsor / everything morning. I'm pretty jacked, wearing my TEDx Fargo t-shirts. Who all in the audience will be at the Civic Center tomorrow? Yes! Oh, look at that. So amazing. Well, we're so excited to have you. Do we have any newcomers in the audience? That's so quiet. Okay, awesome. Good numbers, good to hear. So 1 Million Cups is a weekly event we host here at the stage. It's to celebrate the entrepreneurial ecosystem, artists, businesses in our area. We're so very excited to have you. And without further ado, I would love to welcome your host for the morning, Greg Tavine.
Hey, thanks, Emma. Hold on, Emma. Stay up here. So tomorrow is National Intern Day. How many of you have interns at your companies? Emma, you're an intern here at Emerging Prairie. You go to school in Colorado. You've been busting your butt on TEDx Fargo. What is one thing all these folks can do to celebrate interns tomorrow? What do you think everyone in this room should do to celebrate interns tomorrow?
Speaking from personal experience, a little birdie told me that interns really love coffee. And you should buy them coffee, because that would be very nice. And they may or may not cry, but that's just a little heads up. Okay, enjoy.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Emma. Good to see you. Hey, let's celebrate National Intern Day tomorrow. So a hello to our friends with Click Content Studios that are sharing this 1 Million Cups live broadcast all across the state today. So we're on a live broadcast. Let's give a round of applause to all of our friends that are joining us around the state. Here at 1 Million Cups, we do a few things. The first of which is we have announcements. This is an opportunity for you to find out what's happening in our community, to get involved, to get engaged. Then we're going to have 2 speakers today, and this may be our most dynamic lineup we've ever had. We have somebody that works with NASA astronauts, somebody that does blockchain. We're going to figure out how they go together. And then we as a community are going to ask questions. How do we support these entrepreneurs to move their ideas forward faster? And then we're going to send you all home to get back to your office. So to kick things off, our first announcement comes to us from our friends at the North Dakota State University Research and Technology Park. Let's welcome to this stage, Emily.
Thank you. Okay, so next week we are hosting the Inside Banking Conference. It is for anyone and everybody, particularly startups or small businesses that are looking to get maybe their very first business loan. Because how can, someone like me, or say a senior in high school, get a loan for a car, but you can't get a loan to fund your business? They have no credit, and you have great credit. Why? So learn about that on August 1st from 1 to 5 p.m. at the McGovern Alumni Center. RSVP on Ticket Leap, and like I promise all of my Innovation Challenge students, you come to an event that I'm hosting, I will feed you.
All right, we like that. Our next announcement comes from our friends at TNT Fitness to discuss the Fargo Mania event. Are we doing an announcement first or video? All right, let's go to the video.
It's huge to be able to see how motivating these people are. They're, like I said, they're out there and you can see they're trying as hard as they can to get it perfect. Whatever disability is, they can't always be perfect, but they are trying as hard as they can. It's inspiring. It's like if I could actually do it, like why would I not do it? And if they would give anything to be able to do it perfectly. So it's really inspiring.
Hello everyone, I'm here today from TNT Kids Fitness. My name is Kelsey Knutson, and I'm here to promote Fargo Mania Ninja Warrior Day. So on September 14, NBC's 3-time champion on American Ninja Warrior, Maggie Thorne, is coming to Fargo to support the athletes that you just saw in this video. So we need your help. There are table sponsorship opportunities. We really want to keep costs low for these athletes so that they can train and compete. And so please, my email's on the screen. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to tell you more about Fargo Mania and how you can help be a part of the Maggie Thorne Ninja Warrior event. Thank you so much.
Hey, real quick, do you do Ninja Warrior training for people at my skill level? Courtney, do you have the remedial program? John Mahachek and I want to challenge. John, can I challenge you at a Ninja Warrior contest? Yeah, me and you, John. It's going to be big. All right, next up, Carissa from Global Shapers. Let's welcome to the stage, Carissa. Oh, it's not Carissa. Oh, watch it. Okay, got it.
Hi, everyone. My name's Callie Knorr. I am a global shaper. I'm one of over 7,000 in the world. And Fargo has one of over 300 hubs as well. So Global Shapers is a group of young people who just want to be more active in their communities, to volunteer together and to create a project that is done every year. So each hub all over the world creates one kind of community project that we do. And so right now we are in our recruitment stage, and we are looking for individuals between the ages of 20 and 29 to apply. So if you are interested, applications are due August 1st, and apparently there are a lot of Global Shapers in the room as well. So if you can find them after this, we'd be happy to give you more information. You can see our Facebook and that email on there. So thanks.
All right, thank you, thank you. Up next, Rob from JLG Architects, the folks that are doing the lobby activation to have a little event for us to look forward to. Welcome to the stage, Rob.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Rob with JLG Architects. JLG is located in downtown Fargo. We are a 120-person firm that does a lot of public community projects, and we're all coming together as an office on September 7th for a big kind of company-wide event, and then we're going to cap that off with a community event. So please just mark your calendar for Friday, September 7th. It's going to be a concert. It'll be great. There's food and beverages that are available for purchase. 7 p.m. Music starts, 6 p.m. food. It's located where the Red River Market is.
All right, thank you, Rob, and thanks for the coffee mug. Who got a coffee mug? Who got a coffee mug? All right, great. Drink up. It's a great week to stay caffeinated. So one of the things that we believe here at 1 Million Cups is that our entrepreneurs drive our economy and our artists drive our culture. So today we have our random acts of art. Our friend Anna is back from Las Vegas. Let's give her a big welcome back to the stage. Welcome back, Anna.
I'm kind of excited that I matched the slide, actually. Yeah, I'm from Las Vegas, as you can tell from my outfit, and I lived in the Midwest, and I learned very quickly that if you tell people you're an entertainer from Las Vegas, you'd better err on the side of Cirque du Soleil than any other assumption that they could make about you. So that's why I'm also decked out like this today. I am going to go out on a limb and sing something that I like to call is about radical hope. And I'm a songwriter, so I get to say whatever I want, which is also really fun. And I'm not saying this song is about faith. There's kind of a difference to me. And I come from a multicultural background, all faiths, and a healthy dose of science. And I will tell you, I am a quantum physics nerd, and I'm super geeking out that Michelle Lucas is here from NASA. I already told her that. And because I believe in this idea of human potential. You'll also see that in this song. And also because Michelle's here, I have to tell you my favorite story is about JFK asking Wernher von Braun, how do we get a man to the moon and return him home safely? And Wernher said, first you believe it's possible. And I'm a huge, passionate believer in human potential. And I wrote this song at a time when my father had passed away, and I was actually losing everything in my life. But I was really finding this idea of radical hope very powerful. And I found in this kooky self-help book a passage about your thoughts have the ability to restore all the years the locusts have eaten up. And I thought, wow, that sounds like a song. So I ran to the piano and I wrote this song. It's called I Believe. All the years the locusts came and ravished, leaving me in pieces on the floor, now restored. And everything I've never had is here. Now I believe in miracles. Yes, I believe in light everlasting and love never passing away. This I believe. And blessed be those who've never seen, yet they believe in miracles, just they believe. Go and wash your hands and now be clean, if you believe in miracles, if you believe in light everlasting and love never passing away, if you believe, if you believe.
Thank you, Anna. Woo! So this is TEDx Fargo week. How many of you are going to TEDx tomorrow? TEDx is officially sold out. How fantastic is that? So we'll have well over 2,000 people with us, and one of the things that we love about TEDx is it brings new friends to the community. So Anna is here because she's in town as part of TEDx Fargo activities. We've got a group from Microsoft's Tech Spark that's here. Let's welcome them to the stage. Welcome, Microsoft. I believe one of you had a flight delayed and drove 11 hours from Wyoming. All right, can you just stand up? We're just going to get you a lot of coffee. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for driving in. Another thing that happens with TEDx Fargo is that we engage our speakers. So there's 24 speakers, and speakers get engaged in the community. So we have over 40 community events this week where speakers are getting to know folks in the United Way, our educators, and a variety of things. And here at 1 Million Cups, we have two of the most interesting speakers that are going to give us their tech company story. So it's not their TED Talk, it's their real company and what they're working on. So our first speaker today is a San Diego State University grad. He was doing his PhD work at Hamlin for a while. He's worked in philanthropy with the Cargill, I believe the Cargill Family Foundation, but he's into blockchain. He's been recognized by the White House. He's won MIT Innovation Awards. He's by far one of the most fascinating people, and he's here today. Join me in welcoming to the 1 Million Cups Fargo stage, Hamze! Let's welcome Hamze! How about this? Let's just go to this mic. How about this? Let's just scratch. Oh, are you on?
Yeah, I am now.
All right, let's try it again. Welcome to the stage, the amazing Hamze!
Yeah, so this is my first time in Fargo, and this is a cool place. And I feel like all the announcements that have been made, I may be thinking about moving here sometime. Well, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Hamze Warfa. I am originally from Somalia. I've been in the United States for about 22 years, mostly working in philanthropy, but about 4 years ago, my co-founders and I found an interesting gap in how we try to solve our global supply chain crisis. So global supply chain, both from a traceability and last mile standpoint, but also for refugees, women farmers, homeless people who are invisible in our global economy. So we started our company. Excuse me, let me get my, might need this at some point. Yeah, so we started our company 2016 formally, and we are a blockchain as a service company, B2B2C. We're based in the Twin Cities, but we're a Delaware registered company. We have 3 use cases that we're focusing on. One is a lot of us here drink coffee. How many people drink coffee here? I would think a lot of people here. So the coffee that we enjoy here is made and produced by women somewhere. But most often, they don't get credit for the work they have done. They are getting 45% interest rate to get a tractor loan. They don't have access to the global economy. So what we're doing is we created a digital identity platform. And so we're harnessing the power of a distributed ledger technology known as blockchain technology. So some of you who are not familiar with blockchain, the use cases are infinite, but in the financial industry, 100 largest banks came together and created R3 so that they can reduce the amount of time it takes to settle checks and things like that. Some of you know on the cryptocurrency side, Bitcoin and Ether and things like that. So we decouple the mining aspect of it, and we don't do currency at all. So we use the core capability of blockchain, which is the consensus network and the immutability of data. So I spent 3.5 years when my family fled from Somalia. Both of my parents were successful entrepreneurs. But when we came to Kenya in refugee camps, we became nobodies. We became a number. My number was 003471. And we would use this number to collect food, medicine, and clothing. A lot of times, it didn't matter if we already had vaccine, because there was no record management system. We would repeat immunization as our family moved from one camp to another camp. And when families are refugees are resettled in the United States or another country, so they repatriate to their country of origin, they lose the transaction activities while in the camps. And the camps have high economic activities happening. Despite the hardships that refugees go through, they have high entrepreneurial spirit. They engage in businesses. They receive microloans, which they fully repay. But they don't get credit. They don't have a record management system that shows their achievements. So we are in 7 countries now as a company. In the supply chain, we have big brands like Mars, a chocolate company. We also are in Jordan, working with the Syrian refugees by creating a digital locker so that their accomplishments and activities can be traced wherever they end up going. And then we have the homelessness. The city of Austin, Texas decided to address the issue of inefficiencies from the homeless individuals moving from one health clinic, emergency situation to another. So by having all the data points, data stored in one location, decentralized data that belongs at the individual level, which creates an empowerment, which creates a sense of ownership and pride for people who are marginalized. So that's our company. We raised $2.5 million a few months ago, thank God. Our goal is really simple. We want to uplift 100 million people from poverty in the next 10 years. At the same time, being a $100 million company. So that's our goal. Thank you so much. I may be over my time, and would love to connect some of you, and look forward to the Q&A. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Hamza. Thank you, sir. You want to just... All right, so if you have questions, write them down, or you can tweet them in, #1MCFAR, and we'll bring Hamza and Michelle up after Michelle's presentation. So our next presenter comes to us originally from the Midwest, grew up in Chicago, now living in Washington, D.C., spends over 100 days a year traveling. She worked with NASA for 10 years. Now she has Higher Orbits, an organization that is committed to helping young people explore science, technology, in space. Join me in welcoming to the stage, Michelle Lucas.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. I'm happy to be here. It's my first time in Fargo. I was in Bismarck last fall, and that's sort of how I got into coming to North Dakota. My name's Michelle, as he said, and I am a space geek. Is anybody out there geeky about space like me? Did anybody know there were 2 rocket launches this morning, 14 minutes apart? It was pretty awesome. So I'm a big believer that space inspires, and the technology of space inspired me. Sorry, me and the, oh, turn it on. Technology and Michelle, not friends. STS-1, back in 1981, inspired me to want to pursue a career in space. And I totally geeked out and was lucky to get to go to space camp as a little girl. I didn't quite embrace my space geekness at this point. I'm complete with, you can't tell ladies, but they're pink clip-on earrings because my mom wouldn't let me get my ears pierced. But I knew space was what I wanted to do. And so I went to school and I studied and I became a flight controller for the International Space Station, and I loved working in mission operations. I then went on to become an instructor for astronauts. All along the way, I assumed that my career trajectory was going to continue to be technical in the space world. And then something amazing happened. I fell in love with empowering students to pursue their passions, to reach for the stars. And because I'd been able to attend space camp as a little girl because of scholarship, I wanted to give back. And so I decided to do something I never in a million years thought I would do. I started a nonprofit. It's called Higher Orbits. We use space as a launch pad to get students interested in science, technology, engineering, and math, and if they're already interested, to keep them engaged. We work hard to build teamwork, leadership, and communication skills along the way. I had no idea what it meant to start a company. I have friends who are entrepreneurs in the tech world and the marketing world, and I'm pulling my hair out, and they're looking at me like, well, duh, you spaz, you're an entrepreneur. This is what happens. And I'm like, I am? What? I had never thought of it that way. And so Higher Orbits has existed for about 4 years now. And for the last 3, we've been running our flagship program that is called Go for Launch. It's a multi-day program where high school age students get to work with an astronaut for the entire event, and they compete to have their science flown into space to the International Space Station, and next year we'll also fly with Blue Origin on suborbital flights. Now, I have to correct Greg. I hate to say he was wrong. I wish I only spent 100 days a year on the road. I spend probably closer to 225. We run this program all across the country. I was in Denver and Austin and Ohio in the past month. I go to Chicago on Sunday to run it. We don't have one in North Dakota yet, but hopefully one day. And what we're doing is we're encouraging students to come up with ideas that cause them to think outside the box. But here's the irony. I want them to think outside the box, but I'm forcing them to put it inside an actual box. Here's some of the students at launch, and this is one of our experiments on board the International Space Station. Right now we have bees in space from a group of 4 high school students from the Chicagoland area, and we'll have an experiment on every launch coming up over the next year and a half to the International Space Station. It's been an exciting ride. It wasn't the ride I quite expected, but I feel so fortunate to have found this trajectory. And I'm really honored to get to be here to share it with all of you, because I believe that space inspires, whether you want to be a rocket scientist or a fashion designer or an artist. And so I think it's something that we can all leverage, no matter what our industry, as a way to get students more excited about STEM. So thank you for having me here in North Dakota, and I look forward to your questions.
You want to come back up? Come on back up. You can hold that.
Okay, I'll just put it back down.
You guys can sit over here, and if you could let's back these chairs up just a little bit so our friends over here can see us. Excellent. So how this is going to work, if you've got a question, you can just raise your hand. We've got some mic runners. Or you can tweet in your question with the hashtag 1MCFAR. And for our friends that are online, we'd love to take your questions as well. So I'll kick things off. Both Michelle and Hamza, it is apparent you have a give first mentality. When I invited you to come to Fargo, you said yes, and how can I help? Can you talk about how having a generosity-based mindset has allowed your company to grow and to thrive, and why it's an important part of your work?
Go ahead, Hamza. Okay, so I'm the kid who didn't have 2 nickels to rub together as when I was growing up, and when I asked my mom, could I go to space camp? I don't know exactly what her response was, but I'm pretty sure it was along the lines of, honey, that's lovely, but I'm sure it's more than $5, so I'm sure we can't afford it. And so it has never been lost on me that my life was changed by somebody who donated to a scholarship so I could attend. And so I have always carried that forward. Look, astronauts, there's only 563 people who've been in space. There's not another program in the United States where students get to work with the astronaut for the entire event. Even if you go to space camp, it's for a couple minutes. I can't pay these astronauts what they're worth. But because I'm giving forward to so many students, they're willing to give as well. I still don't ask them to do anything for free, but they're certainly donating their time comparative to what it's worth. And companies embrace this. I run this on a shoestring because my goal is not to get rich or anything like that. My goal is to give to students like someone gave to me.
Excellent. Hamza?
Well, thank you. Yeah, so my life started really in a peaceful, affluent neighborhood in Mogadishu, Somalia, before the civil war. As I mentioned, both of my parents have been very successful business owners. And when we came to the camp, we really moved from hope to hopelessness in the 3 years and a half we spent refugees, as refugees in the camps. And then we were sponsored by World Church Service in Colorado. And because of that, we were able to move from hopelessness to hope again. And so it really, for me, giving back has always been part of, who I am. And I want to really help as much as I can to move people from hopelessness to hope through economic justice. For me, it really comes down to improving livelihoods of people who are currently excluded from our global economic system, which was really built to be exclusive of many people. So we want to make sure that we create an inclusive global economy where everyone participates and also contributes to. And so removing barriers that are preventing people to make their ends, meet is my goal in life. And so I was inspired by my parents. I was inspired by World Church Service. And without their help, I wouldn't be here today. So I want to make sure that, people who don't have opportunities to live their lives with dignity have opportunities. And I want to contribute to that effort.
Should we clap? I don't know, like that. Wow. Okay, let's go to the crowd. If you've got a question, track down one of our mic runners. I know we've got one up here, April. So let's grab some questions from the crowd, and you can also tweet them in with the hashtag 1MCFAR.
So I don't know if it's much of a question, but maybe something you can comment on. I live in the world of finance and mortgage, and a lot of times with refugees, they end up in the United States, and whether it's automobile financing or mortgage, you go to pull credit, and in basically an industrial term is they're a credit ghost. They don't have any credit. We know from the story that something was established previously, but when they get to the United States, they basically are starting from ground zero. And what that essentially leads to is you can't put them in the best product or program, and also requires a lot of documentation. So do you foresee anything, or are you working on something that maybe talks with the United States credit reporting services so that we can actually help people get into the type of homes they deserve to be in?
Yeah, thank you. Excellent question. So just quick facts. Number one, the average stay in refugee camps is 17 years. And because life is about collection of activities and events, imagine losing 17 years of your life. And just imagine that you've just lost your wallet, you've lost access to anything you had, you left everything behind in circumstances beyond your control. You came to a refugee camp, the average stay 17 years. And coming to the United States, it takes about 10 years for an immigrant or refugee to build a credit history. 10 years, because they're coming with not even being able to rent an apartment when they come in. So we are now, I like to use the analogy of the fax machine. So the first fax machine was useless, because you need a second fax machine for it to work, right? And so what we want to do is really build the first fax machine in the camps so that when people come here, they already have an established history record they can come with. As I mentioned, most refugees have some sort of economic activities happening. So some of them have, been getting microloans from NGOs and microfinance institutions. They have a track record of paying back successfully. So imagine if someone comes in and say, look, here is, my economic activities. This is how many loans I had, and I fully repaid. I never forget the story of an Uber driver I connected in DC. who said, he came to the United States 6 months ago. He's from Iran, and 6 months prior to his fleeing from his country, he posted something on social media, and that put him risk, of his life. So he fled. He was an internal medicine doctor for 30 years, but coming to the United States without that history, he's now, driving Uber and cannot really translate or transfer all the history, work history, experience, all that he developed. So we're creating an economic identity platform, a digital locker, so that refugees come with history rather than starting off life from scratch again. So we have active use cases now in Jordan, working with the Syrian refugees, as well as in Kenya, where I spent 3 years and a half in the Dadaab refugee camp. So in Minnesota, for example, we're working with a local CDFI bank and a resettlement agency so that we can move the 10-year credit history time length to 6 months with the establishment of this credit history. And like the fax machine analogy, the established credit unions are now recognizing activities. For example, in the Latino community, there is an effort where communities collect money from each other and build credit history. That's already being linked to TransUnion and fax machine, TransUnion and I forget the other names of other companies. But so similar efforts is already undertaken. The enabling environment, in other words, is there. And so with this blockchain data ownership at the individual level, we're able to empower and make sure that people come with their history and not start life from all over again.
Excellent. All right, let's go back to the crowd. Looks like we've got some other questions. Peter.
Hi, Michelle. How has the emergence and incredible success of the private space companies affected your business and just kind of the overall space enthusiasm in the recent years?
Well, Peter, that's a great question, and I couldn't do what I'm doing today if it weren't for the emergence of the commercial space market. It used to take 2, 3, 5, 7 years to get an experiment manifested, meaning built, sent up on a rocket to space. And it was only done by principal investigators who were career scientists. Now that we have commercial companies in the mix, we have SpaceX and Northrop Grumman carrying cargo, soon to be Sierra Nevada as well. We have more ability to carry more cargo to the space station. And automation is the other piece of that. So because we're able to automate our payloads, we don't require crew time. Companies like Space Tango, who we work with, have agreements with the Center for the Advancement of Science and Space and NASA to be able to manifest X number of payloads through them. And so if it weren't for the commercial world, I couldn't do what I do with students. There's just no way. If you go back and you look, on Skylab 3, there was a student experiment with the spiders, Arabella, but that was kind of a one-off. It wasn't typical. Now we're seeing on launches numerous student experiments, and it's such an amazing opportunity. I mean, can you imagine being 15 or 16 years old and synthesizing data that's come back to you from the space station? I mean, that's kind of amazing.
I can't imagine being 33 years old and getting to do that.
Yeah, I'm a little older than that, and I'm still struggling with how to handle all of that. It kind of boggles my mind. But we have a new space race going on, and it's a beautiful thing. No, it's not like racing to the moon, but we have so many commercial companies, some that folks don't even know about, that are working to make human access to space more for everybody than just 563 people. And I think it's inspiring to students to see all these options, that there is a game in space other than NASA. And I think we're going to see really exciting things happen over the next couple of years. And so I feel honored to be part of that. It's fun to share the excitement with the students. And technology, I woke up this morning and got to pull up my iPad and watch a launch happen in French Guiana, and then watch another launch happen at Vandenberg Air Force Base. 2 launches within the course of 15 minutes. Even 10 years ago, that would have been unheard of. And now it's not quite the new norm, but we're getting closer to that.
Excellent. Let's go back to the crowd. Where's our next question? Right here. Thank you.
Your story is such a great one. I think so many of us in the tech world are wanting to increase the numbers of young women and girls in STEM fields, right? And to keep them in those STEM fields. I'm wondering, as you travel the country, any magic bullets, programming that you've seen that really incentivizes that work?
So it's interesting that you asked that. And I'm going to go out on a limb here because I think you all are out-of-the-box thinkers. And I'm going to tell you that though I'm a woman who sits up here on this stage, I think my success with girls is that I don't point out that they're girls. I think the fact that I'm a woman doing it inspires them. But people come up to me and they're like, oh, so Michelle, you're for girls in STEM. I'm like, yeah, and boys. I'm for everybody in STEM. And so organically, by not marketing specifically to girls, our attendance rate is about 42% female. Now, admittedly, we have some events where it's lower, but then we have some events that it's higher. But our overall attendance rate for Go for Launch is 42% female. To me, the way to speak to girls and get them involved and keep them involved is to show them people that are like them, that are women doing these jobs, but quit bringing up that they're girls, because then they feel different. Look, it's everybody in code, everybody in rockets. And so that's my personal opinion on how to do it. And that's what's worked for me, albeit I'll be honest, it wasn't an intentional choice that I was going to do that. But I'm seeing that when we give them good role models that do the things that they're doing, and it's not just true of women, it's true of all backgrounds. When we show people that look like them, that are from the places that they're from, doing these things, that inspires them organically.
We're just going to change the name of today's 1 Million Cups to Humanitarian Day. We've got another somewhere over here, I think.
Hi, I have a question. So
Oh, in the middle.
there's infinite numbers of possibilities that we run into, and each of us run into a number of different choices that we have to make. What I'm struggling with, and this is my question to you, is which ones of these possibilities do you decide to go with, and which ones do you stay with, or when do you decide, no, I'm not going to do this one, I'm going to do that one instead? And I guess that's a question to both of you.
Is this a blockchain-related question?
It's for either of you, because I think there's these opportunities, all of us run into this, that's what I'm struggling with. You know, what do you decide to go with, what do you decide to pass on, and what do you decide to stick with?
So if you want to start.
Yeah, so I'm one who, thinks kind of the systems approach. So applying multiple approach to meet the needs of society. For me, economic level is the most important for me, and I think improving people's livelihoods is the most critical. So if I had to pick one, I would say the transformative power of technology, and in this case, blockchain, to me is one of the biggest, I feel like we moved from the Internet of Things to social media, and now I think the next big move is how do we capitalize the transformative power of blockchain to empower people to, have democratize, decentralize finance, and eventually power. So just imagine, women farmers who are, producing all the good, coffee that we're all enjoying, but yet, and have been doing for 20 years, 25 years, but yet cannot even get the smallest loan possible to get a, tractor loan because they don't have a history. So I think the enabling environment for blockchain use case is powerful. And if I had to pick one, I would say it might be one, but it might be three at the same time. Homelessness, refugee, and women farmers, I think are
Say the last one again. What's the last one?
Farmers, refugees, and homelessness. So those three, I think, would have a significant efficiency play, but also empowerment play at the last mile.
Excellent. Michelle?
So if you're asking how do I pick what I work on and how do I pick what I don't work on, that's a great question, and it's one I'm still trying to figure out, and it's one I'm struggling with. Because if I could clone myself, I have 57 different projects that I'd love to do. For me...
And imagine if you were passionate about them.
I know. I mean, I'm just... Dude, I have no energy, and I really don't have any drive or desire. And
thankfully, Sandy's Donuts sponsored your trip to Fargo.
I mean, sugar and caffeine, two of the things I live on. What I'm struggling with is reminding myself that I am a one-woman show, and I do nobody any good if I don't say no to things. One of my friends who's become a mentor and is a serial entrepreneur, we have these almost weekly conversations of, some of you probably remember the DARE campaign of just say no to drugs. Okay, so he's like, Michelle, we're gonna practice, just say no. I'm like, no. He's like, okay, that's not very convincing. He's like, you can't do everything. I'm like, but I don't like to disappoint anybody. I don't like to say no. But this summer, for the first time in my life, I think, I've had to admit that I spread myself too thin. And as such, certain things did not get as much attention as they should have. And I'm disappointed in myself in that, but it's also been a great learning lesson that I have to pick and choose. And how do I do that? I'm still trying to figure out. So I'll tell you what, I'll come back in 6, 9, 12 months and I'll let you know what I come up with. But the bottom line is some of it's trial and error. And because I'm not passionate about any of it, it's real easy for me to separate emotion and logic on these sorts of things. So it's a very deep question that I don't have a good answer to.
Yeah, if I can just comment on that, I would say in many ways, it's a good problem to have in some ways, because I would say this is the best time to be alive, because we have multiple ways in which we can, improve people's lives, and so the fact that we have use cases, multiple use cases with passion, that we can, improve people's lives through public-private, sectoral way, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have, and I think it's the systemic approach to it, for me, makes most sense.
So Michelle and Hamza, as we wrap up today here at 1 Million Cups, I'm going to ask you a softball question, and then we're going to ask our final question. So the softball is, you've come into Fargo. I think both of you, this is kind of the longest stay. Any one thing you might want us to help you have a great experience? Anything you're hoping to do that someone in this room may be able to help you have a great time in Fargo? Very selfishly is okay.
I need cool postcards, and I love cupcakes. So where's the best cupcake place? And I need to send my niece a postcard, so where can I get a good postcard?
All right, so if you know the answers, track down Michelle. I think that one's possible. Hamza?
I'm a believer of storytelling, so I have a couple of more days here. So anybody with a story inspires me, whether in person, online, offline, however way. So would love to connect more people.
All right, and then the final question, we ask this at 1 Million Cups every week here in Fargo and in 190 communities around the world, is what can we, there's 175 of us in the room right now, from architects to educators, healthcare folks, retired folks, students, people looking for jobs, people building companies. What can all 175 of us do to support you and your companies as you grow? What can we do to help your company grow faster and have a bigger impact?
Go ahead, Hamza.
Yeah, thank you. I would say being conscious about yourself, how the fact that, this $80 gene is made by probably individuals who could be in economic hardship and who don't get the credit for it. So think about the brands you work with, be a conscious consumer, to really also think about the nuanced ways in which we can improve people's lives, whether you're in the private sector or the public sector, you're a student, so creating that, having educated mindset about, how our circular economy works and how 2.5 billion people are currently excluded from our global economy. And there are things that you can do in what do you buy, what do you eat, what do you drink, who you connect with, that could really have a lasting impact for someone somewhere in the world. So think about that.
Well, my favorite Go for Launch series that I've done was in Durham, and the Durham County Library underwrote 6 programs where every child got to attend at no cost. I would love to bring that model to North Dakota, where we run Go for Launch in Bismarck and Fargo, and you tell me what other cities, because many of your students may love space, but may have no idea how to get involved. And here's the beauty of the space industry. No matter what their passion is, there could be a job for them if they're interested in it, ranging from art to rocket scientist. And so I'd love to have a conversation with anyone and everyone who wants to discuss what it takes to bring Go for Launch here to North Dakota, run several programs, and then what we would do is you pick one winner from each event in North Dakota, and they compete against each other, and that experiment then flies to the International Space Station. Space is such an awesome way to inspire kids, and I would love to work with any and all of you to bring that space-inspired STEM amazement to your students.
Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Hamze.
Thank you.
Wow. I think those may have been our most caffeinated speakers we've ever had. Passion was high. Thank you both for being here. As we wrap up 1 Million Cups, we just want to say a couple things. One is we want to thank our volunteers. So Roger, who says hello to us every week. Kayla from Ide Bailey for the live tweeting. To the Emerging Prairie team, a lot of us are here today. So we've got Darby and Emma, Lindsay, Kelsey, Megan, Malachi, Jordan, the whole team. Emerging Prairie's putting on like 40 events this week with TEDx tomorrow. So big thanks to all of you for being here today. We appreciate it. To our mic runners, April and Matt, to our friends at Click Content Studio that are producing today's 1 Million Cups and 8 more this year all across the state of North Dakota. Big thanks to Jim and April and their whole team from Click. Also, these are our sponsors, so if you know anybody that works at any of those companies, they just bought you coffee, so send them a thank you card, send them a note. Big celebration out to Heat Transfer Warehouse. If you've read the Fargo Inc. issue, you'll hear about what Kirk and his team is up to. They were just recognized by Google at Heat Transfer Warehouse for their incredible work in North Dakota. So if you know anybody at Heat Transfer Warehouse, make sure to congratulate them. Our friends at JLG, there's mugs in the back, and what's so cool is they're giving away free architect services today up to $1 million, so that's free. Grab those on the way out. Just let them know. Build your friend a house, whatever. It'll be really great. And then just kind of as we wrap, this is our last 1 Million Cups of the summer. And so we will be taking the month of August off. We're getting ready for the fall. We have some incredible speakers coming in. I know one of the 1 Million Cups in the fall I'm looking forward to is Living Legends Day, where we're going to have Mr. Scheel interview his dad. We're going to have Mr. Solberg interview his dad. We expect about 400 people that week. We're going to have more and more content. But as we wrap today, with all this energy, I hope we can look to Hamze and Michelle as role models. One of the things that Emerging Prairie believes is that its technology can be part of the solution for improving the human condition. These are two role models that we can all look up to about getting more and more folks to participate, whether it's in science-based education, whether it's economic access. But these are two of America's heroes. It's an honor to have you here today. Thanks to all of you. We'll see you in September at our next 1 Million Cups. Have a great Wednesday.